Welcome to Creative Tien channel. Last time we connect to LK100 knitting machine to make a extra long knitting machine. So it's easier to knit a blanket without seaming or knit anything that needs a wider length. So you can see I have LK150 behind, and this is the two LK100. So today I'm trying to make a little sample to see how wide can it be with this knitting machine. I'm using regular medium weight yarn, that's category 4, the worsted weight. And I'm going to use the mast for LK150, and I'm using the carriage for LK150. This is a standard LK100 carriage, and LK100 is actually bulky and LK150 is medium. So this one is supposed to have a bigger size hole or channel to accommodate bigger yarn. But you don't really notice much difference unless you are using very thick yarn. And I really don't like this type of mast because it is very difficult to control the tension. I prefer the LK150 style mast because when the yarn go through the height, it's easier to control, and the tension is more even. Especially when you have a long knitting machine like that, it's easier to use a standard LK150 mast. And I simply place the LK150 knitting machine behind my long LK100 knitting machine. And I just switch the carriage to LK150. It will fit LK100 nicely. And this carriage has more feature on the side, so you can have hold and you can do tuck stitch. So it's an improved version of the LK100, even though this is for medium weight and LK100 is bulky weight. So I already started with some simple E-wrap and plain stockinette stitches. I leave the outermost stitches not used because it's easier for my carriage to park on the side. This one doesn't have an extension panel like a LK150. You can pull out and park your carriage. So I leave 9 stitches on both sides, and I'm using all other stitches. And so far that's the result. For the tension, I set it to highest tension, the tension 9 on LK150 carriage. And the mast tension, I have number 7. And when you are knitting, you might want to hold the yarn with one hand to adjust the tension a little bit, because the machine is so long, the tension can be a problem. Here's my knitted sample. Without blocking, it's almost 40 inches. You can always add a wider trim on 4 sides to make it even bigger. Next, I'm going to try tuck stitch because tuck stitch tend to make the fabric wider and shorter. I'm going to do a tuck stitch about every 10 stitches, and I'm going to do a 2-row tuck stitch so it's still manageable. The standard throw blanket for adult is about 52 inches wide average, so this is still not very wide. For the tuck stitch, I'm going to knit similar way. I will start with E-wrap cast on, knit 10 rows. I'll do a 2-row tuck and repeat, knit 10 rows plain and 2-row tuck. To do tuck, I pick out the stitch I want It's about every 10 stitches. I'm picking the one next to this mark. And change the carriage setting on LK100 carriage from 2 to 1 on both sides. It's much easier to do the tuck with LK100 because of this function. Now I will need 2 rows. So the yarn lie on top of those needles. It doesn't knit. Now I switch the lever back to the plain stitch knitting, and I will knit 10 rows and repeat the tuck stitch setting. I end up doing the tuck stitch every 5 rows instead of 10 rows, so it's a little bit dense. I'm just going to do a simple transfer bind off. This is the one with tuck stitch. After some seam blocking, this is the final dimension. For the plain stockinette stitch, it's about 42-43 inches wide, and for the tuck stitch, it's about 45 inches. And depends on the interval of the tuck stitch. If you make more tuck stitch, you should make it even wider. So that's the video today. I hope you like it, and see you next week.